Hey, Tony Gaskins here, popping in. I didn't get to shoot a video on Monday. It's actually Tuesday, but it's early Tuesday, meaning like after midnight, because my wife, she had to fly out to see a family member who, having some health complications. And so I was fishing during the day because my one of my partners had set up a fishing trip that had been set up a long time ago, and just kind of days fell on the same day. My wife was actually supposed to go yesterday, fly out, see family, then fly back, but flights got canceled. Been a bunch of flights canceled. And I didn't, yesterday, I was in, when I say yesterday, I'm saying Sunday. I was coming back home from Georgia because my son had a soccer game in Georgia. Going up, I had to shoot a video while driving, which was, dangerous. But trying to get the video in, and shot the video. And then Sunday, I wasn't really feeling it. I didn't get the time because we got up early, game, then got right on the road and was on the road like 5, 6 hours. Stopped at my grandma's house. My grandma's not living, but I still call it my grandma's house. It's actually now a group home that my sister owns. And stopped there. My cousin is there. He works there. He cooks on Sundays. And then from there, had to come home. Took like another hour or so. So we kind of went out the way and turned like a 4 hour trip into like a 6, 7 hour trip. And then got home, and it's a blur. I can't even remember what happened when we got home, but I didn't get to shoot a video. And then come today, get up, go straight to fishing all day. Literally get off the boat from fishing. Instead of going to get my car at my partner's house, I had to have him bring me from the fishing uh, dock to my house so that I could hop in another car with my son and take him straight to a soccer tryout. And then after that, come home. And you come home, as soon as we walk in the door, the national championship game getting ready to come on. Game just finished not too long ago. So now I'm shooting the video because both of my sons are in bed and my wife is on an airplane. So I'm home alone. And now in this time, if you are not, if you're not working on yourself, then you could get into some all kind of stuff. You could get into some nasty movies. You could be in your bathroom doing stuff you're not supposed to be doing with Angela. You could be on the text with somebody you're not supposed to be talking to. You could be on FaceTime. You could be on the phone. You could be doing all kind of stuff. But when you consecrate your life, every free moment, you want to walk in your purpose. You want to do what you're called to do, and you want to occupy your time and make use of the time because you know that tomorrow is not promised. And so I say that all of that to say nothing, but to say when you are trying to do something, you realize what priorities really mean. And you find your priority. And so I see my priorities. And although YouTube is a place of ministry, a place of purpose, a place of service, you also are paid to do YouTube if your page is monetized. But when I look at my day, I say, okay, Saturday, I got up early in the morning, jumped into the car, and drove my two sons to Georgia. And then when we got to Georgia, we drove right to the field. And then we played a game. And then after the game, we went out to eat. And then after going out to eat, we came home and to the hotel. But as soon as we got to the hotel, it was games on. My son showered and all of that, got ready for bed. It was games on. And so I started watching the games. So that's why I shot the video riding up there, and I didn't get the opportunity to shoot another video because my rest and my relaxation. And then today, fishing, what it showed me is that quality of life, that self-care, self-love is a priority. It also showed me that my family is a priority. And one thing I've noticed is that as men, it's so many men, it's normal for us to put work before everything. And yes, we all got to make money, but this could be considered work. And so I'm working, but I'm not taking any time from my family. It's 12:53 a.m. I'm not taking any time from my family. And when my wife lands, if she calls me on her way home, then I'll hang up the video, turn off the video, and talk to her on her way home while she driving home so she could stay awake, so she could be, aware. And again, it will be a priority over serving the world. And so I say that to say you have to identify your priorities. Now, priority was initially meant to be one thing, your priority. Now we have priorities, meaning it may be more than one thing that means a lot to us. And so we put that in order. So for me, it's first my family and being there for my family. And I have to figure out a way to earn money so that I can be there for my family. And I know a lot of men say, well, if I'm there for my family, then I can't earn money. And if I'm earning money, then I can't be there for my family. And that's not true. What you have to do is you got to sit down and you got to be still and you got to be quiet and you have to submit your request unto the Lord. You have to pray for wisdom to get wealth. You have to pray for knowledge. You have to pray for understanding. One of the things that God gave me was Tony Gaskins Academy.com. And when you go to Tony Gaskins Academy.com, you will see a plethora of online courses that come from real life. It's not stock courses. Like, it's not a course where it's a bunch of Googled information put into Word documents or into videos. It's courses from a real life learning curve, like from real life experiences, from real life success, from real life lessons, real life failure in the areas of life, love, and business. And I believe I was lying in this space, like in this same space. And when I created the academy around 2015, I started the account, but it was really around 2017 when this particular version was launched. In 2017, I was in this same house because we bought this house in 2015. And so I was in this space, probably was a different bed. And I said, Lord, I want to be there for my family more often. I want to be with my family more often. I'm traveling the world speaking. And when I say world, I mean world literally. I'm speaking in other continents, not just other countries, but on other continents. And I'm traveling the world and I'm doing these seminars in the areas of life, love, and business, but I'm missing soccer games. And although a seminar could pay tens of thousands of dollars, the soccer game is priceless to me. That's priceless. It's worth more than any amount of money because the speaking industry will never go anywhere. It will always be there. But my son's youth will not always be there. Them playing youth soccer will not always be a thing. When they go to college, I can launch a speaking tour on health and wellness, balance, success, business, entrepreneurship, marriage, love. I could launch a tour on any topic that I have succeeded at, and my wife and I can travel together around the world with me speaking, with her maybe being on a panel or speaking or doing meet and greets. And all of the perceived money that I left on the table, I can get it then when my sons are out the house. But even when they out the house, my priority will still be making their college games and then making their pro games and then making my grandkids games. So I still will have to work around my priority. So while money is important, I believe that God knows and understands that if you choose to get married and have a family, that is your first ministry. Because what does it gain you to save the world and lose your home? And so it's my belief that if you go to God in prayer for the wisdom to get wealth, because your heart is in the right place and you want to be present for your spouse and or your children, if that's a thing, or your family, and you want to be there, that God will grant you the wisdom to make a living and be there for your priority, which is your family or whatever that may be for you. And so with the academy, that blessed me. And then in 2019, in September of 2019, God showed me YouTube. And I have a YouTube course just showing my simplistic way about going about YouTube. A lot of people do it in a very complex way. I do it in a very simple way. And I share that in my YouTube course, YouTube for Beginners, I think it's called. And it's on TonyGassacademy.com. But YouTube turned into a six-figure thing out of nowhere. I had been living my life and earning, a great living without YouTube. YouTube was not a part of my business model. YouTube sent me a check every month from the videos I had on YouTube in 2019. My YouTube was earning $170 a month in 2019. I don't share publicly or anything what my YouTube earns. It's in my course for people who want to do YouTube. I share it transparently. But that was just, it was on my spirit in 2019. It was on my spirit, and it could have been on my spirit. I can't remember when that was. I feel like it was 2019 that my family at some point, maybe 2019 or 2018, went to Europe for 6 weeks. And before Europe, I had started filming for YouTube professional videos with a videographer. And I was paying the videographer $50 an hour for filming and $50 an hour for editing. And nothing really it wasn't happening really like that. And then I was doing podcasts, recording podcasts with a gentleman in his home studio. And I was giving him 20% of whatever YouTube made. And I remember it had went up to like $800, from $170 to $800 in a month. And then one time working with the videographer, it had got to $1,500 in a month, I think. But then when we went away for the summer, I stopped working with the videographer. And when I came back, I said, this is just too much production. I don't want to be having no professional camera guy. I just want to turn my camera on in my comfort zone and just talk to people from my heart. I can talk how I want to talk. I can talk as long as I want to talk. And I started to see an increase in the subscriber count. YouTube put it in the algorithm, got some subscribers, and it started to grow. But God put that on my heart. And what he started to show me is YouTube can replace what you would be earning traveling as a speaker. So now just dedicate an hour or so a day to doing a YouTube video, and you still get to be at home. You still get to see your kids. You still get to do soccer practice, football practice, baseball practice, basketball practice, whatever they into, and get to go to the games. And instead of going on the road and being gone for 2-3 nights at a time, you could be home, and instead of speaking to a sold out hotel ballroom of 300 people to 2,000 people, you can be home and get 1 million views. So instead of getting 1,200 views in a month with live eyes in person, you could get 1 million views in a month, but be home with your family. So you can increase your impact, but also increase your income or keep your income, but be present for your family. And that's a ministry in itself. And so the Lord showed me that. And this was before the pandemic hit. And I started going more regular, like 3 videos a week, in September of 2019. And then in March of 2020, I was in Kansas City for the Big 12 men's basketball tournament. I flew in, got a rental car, drove to the hotel. When I was pulling up to the hotel, the head coach of the team that I was working with then, was standing outside on the phone. He looked at me, he said, 1 minute. He got off the phone and he came to the window. He said, the NCAA just shut everything down. Tournament not gonna happen. COVID. He said, so, we'll be going back home, but come on in, talk to the guys, just let everybody see your face, let everybody see that you came to support. And that was, I think, March 11th, 2020. And at this point now, I'm 6 months in to the plan that God had showed me. So I had already picked up steam before the world shut down. And then when the world shut down, people was home. So people was looking for new streams of income. So people was going on TonyGassonAcademy.com. People was watching more videos, listening more audio books. The Lord took in, when the world shut down, the Lord took in now about quadruple our income. And people said, "Oh, that was because of the pandemic." And then people went back to work, and the Lord still had done the same thing in 2021. And what this showed me is that God is faithful. When you walking with God, when you walking with the Lord, when you leaning on the Lord, when you doing what you called to do, God is faithful. And he more than faithful. He show up and show out. You get an overflow. And when you think about God's blessings, when you read your Bible and you see God's blessings, when he blessed Joseph, it was an overflow. When he blessed Abraham, it was an overflow. When he blessed David, when he blessed Job, when he blessed Solomon, when he blessed the fishermen on the boat with Jesus, when God blesses, he blesses with an overflow. But a lot of times before that overflow, you got an underflow, to where you almost ain't got enough. You being tested, you being tried, everything coming at you. But if you remain faithful, so in the low times, in the struggle, in the transition, when I was stressing and worrying, instead of cursing God, I trusted God. And instead of cheating on my wife, instead of turning to pornography, turning to masturbation, I stayed faithful. And because I stayed faithful, a lot of times people try to discredit your works, but your faith without works is dead. And that also can mean that your belief without you living it is dead. And the reason why is because people don't want to come out of sin, so they want to play God for a fool and think that they can live any kind of way they want to live and stay in God's grace and favor and blessings and abundance. And that's not so. And God showed us that in his word over and over, when people paid a price for their works, for their actions. Judas paid a price. The children of Israel paid a price. When you don't do right continuously and you're not repenting and changing, then eventually you're going to feel the cold. And so one of the things is I take pride in God's grace, and I don't worship my works, but I also am very intentional about my heart's posture and about how I live my life. And I don't take God's grace for granted. And I have received his abundant and exceeding favor. And I don't fully know why or understand it, but I know that I got positioned, that I got aligned to receive. And I know that it was from a pure place in my heart of seeking righteousness and not reward. See, a lot of people will have perfect works for a reward, and that's what it means when it say your works can't get you nothing. When you trying to play God like as if he's an ATM machine or like a genie in the bottle that you could rub on the lamp and ask for a wish, that's not how it works. But when your heart's posture is pure and you are seeking God's face and you living a righteous lifestyle, that's when eventually you are ushered into a season of abundance. And abundance just does not mean financially. You can have an abundance of peace. And the devil always gonna rear his ugly head and be in the midst, and he's gonna attack spirits. And when I'm on, my wife is off. When my wife is on, I'm off. Meaning one of us is always being attacked or tested. And it just could be in a attitude. It just could be in a ungratefulness. It just can be in a selfishness. It bounce back and forth. And then if we both on, then it be one of our children or both of our children. That attitude or personality shifting. The devil always gonna rear his ugly head, and that's why you got to be able to cast him out. You got to be able to know the word so you could call on that word and so that you could speak this right here. And you can weather the storms and you could get through them tests. And in the midst of the storm, you'll find peace. There'll be peace. And there will be clarity. And so even right now, I'm in a space of growth, a space of expansion and just obedience. Lord, let me be diligent. Let me be intentional. Help me to be intentional. Help me to be focused. Help me to do only what is in your will. And the Lord showing it to me. And here's the thing now. Whenever you are getting close to destiny, and when I say destiny, I'm not speaking of this this word that people use like a manifestation type of destiny. But I mean, whenever you're about to get into a groove, into a place where God wants you to be, where the blessing is, where the favor is, there will be a distraction right before you meet destiny. There will be a distraction that looks like destiny. It is a decoy. It will look good. It will shine. If you're getting ready to hold gold, you will see something gold plated that looks just as good or better than what you were getting ready to hold. But it looked better because it's fake. The real got a little different texture to it. It ain't even as shiny, but it's real and it's worth more. It's the fake that look flawless, that look better, that look shinier, but it's hollow. It ain't got no substance to it. And so this right here, and I'm talking to you and God talking to me. While I'm talking to you, God talking to me. Lord showing me something right now. My goodness. And you know what? What God has for you will be delayed. But as the pastor say, delayed does not mean denied. And somebody said that big. It could have been TD Jakes, because I heard a little hood pastor tell me that 15 years ago. So somebody had, I don't know, somebody hadn't said it unless he said it. And then when I was saying it and tweeting it, it went viral, then other pastors started saying it. But the first time I ever heard that was from a pastor in Bartow, Florida. Pastor Kemp. If you from Bartow or the area, you might know Pastor Kemp. He said that to him on a phone call one time I called him. And that brother know he could preach now. And he said, just because it's delayed don't mean it's denied. But see, listen, the adversary is real. The adversary is real now. And so what the adversary will do, the adversary has power on this here earth. So the people could be under the influence and under the adversary's voice. So you could be trying to get something done, but because the people that you trying to get it done with are closer to the devil than they are to God, that will hinder your progress. But it's only for a season. Eventually, God will right the ship. And that's why the Bible teaches us patience and temperance, because the Bible tells us, be anxious for nothing and to be slow to anger and to master yourself. Because if you could master yourself, you could conquer a city. This is what the good book tells us. And the reason being is because God knows the devil gonna throw everything at you, including the kitchen sink. Not everything but the kitchen sink. He gonna throw everything at you, including the kitchen sink. And so what that's gonna do is it's gonna put your destiny on hold for a season. And see, a lot of people give up. They quit. It's like the meme that showed a man who he digging for the treasure, and it showed he stop and he turn around. But when he stopped to turn around, the treasure is a couple more. He do a couple more picks with that axe, and he finna strike gold. But he stop and he turn around. That's what the adversary wants you to do right before your breakthrough. And that is why we so often experience a terrible, terrible breakdown before a breakthrough. That is where the people who survived suicide, meaning who got to that place and they had it in them to call on God, on the other side is their greatest season. But it's millions of people who in their breakdown, they stay down because they did not call on God. And that's where the adversary gets his victories. But see, when you know better, then you got to do better. And I heard a pastor say, God bless his soul, because the brother's so anointed. He done been under attack. Man, the brother anointed. I ain't gonna say his name because it's distract from the message. But I heard a pastor say, if you know in the end everything is going to be okay, then why are you worrying in the middle? Why are you worrying in the midst if you know in the end everything is going to be okay? And that thing rocked me. And so I remember that, and the Lord reminds me of that when I'm going through, that he's taking me to, and that's why I'm going through. And that I have to maintain my countenance, that I gotta keep a strong face about myself, that I gotta keep my head up, that I gotta be patient, I gotta be poised, I gotta be powerful in the midst of the storm. And what God has showed me is, Tony, stop trying to do everything on your own and let the divine happen, and ask him to deliver victory, instead of you feeling like you have to physically slay every demon. But when you ask God to deliver victory, he can and will fight your battles. And it's going to look different in different seasons. So sometimes it's a physical act of you. And sometimes it's you sitting still, you doing nothing. And when you look through, you'll see different examples of somebody being blessed, and it wasn't because of the work of their hands. And then you will see other examples of people being blessed and they had to do something physically. So like when Jesus and the fishermen caught the fish, he said, cast your net on the right side of the boat. And they say, we've been out here all day. We've been fishing all day. We've been casting all day. We ain't caught nothing. He say, listen to what I just told you now. Cast your net. And so sometimes what that'll look like is in your stillness, in your peace and quiet, you may get a message that says, do this. And it might be to sell this or to promote this or to go here or to say this. And in response of that act, your blessing comes. It could be email this person, call this person, whatever it may be. You got to hear it and then do it. And if it sits still, then sit still. If it is to liquidate, then liquidate. Because it may be, see, sometimes you have to take a couple steps back to see the whole picture. So you can't see the whole picture. This right here could be a basketball. But see, right here, you know it's a hand. But see, right here, you don't know what this is. See, so sometimes we got to take a step back. So that might mean selling that depreciating item that you have so that the money you paying to that car note or to that particular bill can be invested, can be sold, or could be saved. And you may feel like you're losing, but you got to be pulled back so you could be launched. Think of like a slingshot. It got to be pulled back so it could be launched. Think about a bullet coming out the gun. It got to be caught so it can be propelled. See, sometimes you're going to have to be set back so that you could be propelled forward. And a lot of times we don't want to hear that because we living for other people. We looking for other people. We shining for other people. And so because of that, we losing. We losing because we don't want to look like we losing, and we'll end up actually losing because we want to appear that we are winning to other people. And that's something you got to think about. It's something you got to think about. So I want you to, be mindful of this. Want you to be mindful of this and keep this, near your heart. Keep this near your heart and process this for your life and get the message for you in this season of what you need to activate or what you need to deactivate. And listen, it could be painful now. It could be painful. And y'all gotta understand this right here on my shirt is a basketball team, Orlando Magic. Nah, I don't hear nobody. You talking about God? Your shirt say Magic. You're supposed to be a Christian. You believe in magic. This an NBA team, okay? But people be finding anything but the message. So I had to address that. But listen, I want you to get that right there for you. And while I'm talking to you, and this is why I do this, because in my quiet time, my stillness, the Lord will be talking to me. And so with me talking to you, I bet I could hear better because I'm talking it out. I'm talking through it. And Lord, while I'm talking to you, Lord done showed me a couple things. Lord done showed me a couple things I need to activate or deactivate. A couple things I need to do. Hey, got to. Hey, this Tony Gaskins. God bless you. Sit on this, pray on this, get this in your spirit. And I'm going to put this up because tomorrow not promised. I'm believing God to be here. But when y'all see stuff like this happen and the video go up 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, understand that I'm just being obedient because somebody up. On the West Coast, it's 10 something. On the West Coast, it's 10:30 right now. So they live and kicking. You know, East Coast, we won 1:30, but West Coast is 10:30. They live and kicking. So, hey, God bless you. We'll talk soon.